Right, good evening, everyone, and good afternoon to our American Jess. How you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Mate, good, mate.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for joining me. Obviously, as we know, Matthew has departed the UK to go to Canada and be a little bit closer to Jess. You know, he just couldn't stay away. But no, I do appreciate you guys joining me and taking some time, especially Jess, with it being Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep, thank you.
All right. So, guys, the Glacial Cup. What are your initial thoughts? You know, we've just had the Brawler Cup. I know one person here has not enjoyed the Brawler Cup, but
I don't know who you're talking about.
what's your general thoughts? You know, how's this month been, and how do you expect next month to go?
Well, the only way is up, right?
For you, Cal, yes, yeah.
Same for me.
Has it been a tough month for you as well, Jess?
Yeah, I had a tournament. I didn't even win one round.
Oh,
Yeah.
it happens. It happens.
Yep.
How about you, Holmsy?
I definitely feel like I'm in the minority of liking Brawler, but then I was in the minority of liking Prismatic. But then Cal was on my side for that one.
That's mate.
Whereas here, I think I'm on my own. I've enjoyed it. I hated Luna. I really enjoyed this. So I'm hoping it's not like a zigzag of hate coming for Glacial.
Yeah. You know, I've had two good results, but I've hated it in general. I really have. Prior to recording this, I lost yet another gym battle. So, you know, my score is going down progressively. But what do we think about the Glacial Cup? Obviously, ice, water, psychic, poison.
Dragon, too.
Dragon as well, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
I think it was really interesting.
I think, like we were saying beforehand, before when we were sort of speculating what it was going to be, and I think Cal said there's been a lot of fighting metas recently, and just a meta without fighting could be a nice change of pace, and then here we are.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
Yeah, it's something fresh. You know, like you say, we've had a whitelist meta quite early on in the season, I think. I think for any new PvP players, they wouldn't have enjoyed last month, let alone us, you know, more experienced players. So it's nice to kind of go back to a bit of a typing cup and kind of maybe draw those players back in a little bit. But yeah, let's get started. So, Cal, you were up first. So if you'd like to let us know your pick.
So my pick is Pokédex number 97, the Hypnosis Pokemon, or I like to call it the Cocknose Pokemon. Hypno. Start with a bang, eh?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Not
Just
impressed.
everyone is shocked. Everyone is shocked.
I mean, it doesn't really need any introduction, does it? It hasn't been around yet this season. Everyone's got one. Everyone's comfortable using it. It's just going to be everywhere. It always is. Even if it's not necessarily the best, it'll definitely be everywhere.
So, do you think it is the best?
Yeah. I don't actually think it is the best confusion user in this, but it'll definitely still be around. I think Jirachi probably edges it this month. And maybe Bronzong, but I'm not keen on Bronzong myself. So, but it's kind of, you know, it just does what Hypno does, doesn't it? You know, it's not, no one's a stranger to it. With a, you know, give it a 1 confusion or a 2 confusion advantage, which is quite easy to get with a Hypno.
Yeah.
It's, you know, a bit of energy and it's deadly, isn't it?
So obviously, as we know, Mr. PV Poker's on holiday, I think, according to his Twitter. And obviously we don't have rankings. So Cal, have you looked much into potential move sets you'd look at be running on Hypno? Whether it be vanilla or shadow?
I'd probably only go shadow. I think I just prefer the shadow one anyway.
Okay.
And I've looked across most of the movesets, and I think probably double punch, probably fire punch and thunder punch for me. Although it was always nice to have shadow ball, isn't it? So
yes, obviously you still got to have Frostlass, for example, knocking around all month, I think, still.
Yeah, I think you still lose anyway, like from even energy anyway, even with double punch.
Yeah.
It's just too quick, isn't it? I think you need 1 confusion and double fire punch is enough, I think.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
I don't think it makes it to the Shadow Ball to kill that way. It only makes it to an Avalanche.
Holmsy, Jess, any thoughts on Cal's pick with, Hypno, the meta Pokemon?
No, I like Hypno. I used it a lot in Kanto Cup. Actually, no, I countered it a lot, is what I should say, because it was there. So
yeah, we have just had a Hypno Cup, haven't we, in GBL?
Yeah.
It was sort of use or bring triple counters, because you are going to see it 24 times out of your 25 matches, and the other person's just someone tanking.
Yes, yeah.
This is the point, isn't it? It is so popular. Everyone has one. Everyone can use it, and hasn't been around for a while. So,
yeah.
I think the general consensus has always been, if you're going to run a Shadow Double Punch, if you're running Vanilla, you need Shadow Ball. Do you think, would you, if you were running Vanilla, like let's say you didn't have a Shadow, would you still be going Double Punch? Would you not be running it? Would you go Shadow Ball?
I don't think I'd run it if it wasn't Shadow. I just think the Shadow bonus on Hypno is it's amazing. It's one of the Pokemon that really benefits from the Shadow.
Yep.
So
this is just where I strike things off. I feel like every time I sit on chatting shit, I'm like, oh, I like the sound of this. And then someone goes, oh, I wouldn't run it without X, Y, Z. Oh, okay, bye. Right, that's one thing gone.
Have you entertained a potential Focus Blast moveset? I did see a few of those knocking around in Kanto Cup.
funny enough, I got hit by a Focus Blast Hypno last night in GBL. So I've had a little look today. But I don't really think you gain a great deal from it, really. You've got to get there for a start, haven't you?
Yes, I'm guessing it's probably picking up a few little niche wins, maybe some dark poisons in zero. Well, not
I think
zero,
that's
actually.
it. But I think if you're in against a dark poison, it's not a great matchup, is it?
Yeah, you're wanting to duck out straight.
You're in a losing matchup anyway, so especially like Drapion or something.
You're not going to take Fire Punch away to potentially be a Lapras Focus Blasting when you're going to be Thunder Punching it anyway.
No.
And
I had a little look at Ice Punch, but you don't really pick up any dragons anyway in the one shield. They just sort of overpower you, so I wouldn't really say it's worth it.
Yeah, because obviously you've got your dark types. You've got Swilos, obviously Dark Dragon, Malamar. How does Hypno perform against those? Obviously, you've got Ice Punch, as you just mentioned, for coverage against Swilos.
No, they're not great matches, are they? You can just throw punches and pray, isn't it?
Yeah, so
that's it.
Hard losses, proper.
Pretty much.
Losses.
Do what you can and get out if you can.
Yeah. So what are the key wins with Hypno? Obviously, we all know what it does, but is there any surprising, kind of key wins that it picks up in?
There's some interesting matches. Regular Bomb Snow, not the Shadow, unless you have a one Confusion lead. Celio, all the Ice Waters, really. It's mostly, if you have the one Confusion lead, it's, there's not much that really wants to take it on. That's the benefit I find. Stuff like, I think I seen before, Nidoqueen, or Shadow Nidoqueen as well. You can pretty much one shield and straight Confusion it down. You just come out with loads of energy. Beedrill's the same. Especially if you shield the second Poison Fang off Nidoqueen as well, then you come out with tons of energy, just done its job, fire loads of moves off, and then that's it. It's literally done its job, isn't it? So
yeah, because Beedrill's quite an interesting one. Because obviously that can fire back at you with spammy X's, obviously Confusions.
Yeah, I think you can tank one, shield the other, and Confusion it down. I think, and then just come out with energy.
So that was quite a common. Beedrill became quite a common save switch in Kanto Cup. Yeah. And that matchup, don't think it matters if the Beedrill Shadow or not. I think that matchup just sort of plays pretty safe.
Straight farm it down, and then you're low enough that you're not being taken advantage of big time on the way out. So
and that's kind of where Shadow Ball would be nice. Yeah, as I said, Shadow Ball or Focus Blast. If you get a nice farm on a Beedrill, you're shield down anyway, so you kind of want to get that shield back. So there's a potential for Shadow Ball for that sort of situation.
Yeah.
Is there any mons that Shadow Ball's picking up for you in terms of win cons?
Not particularly in this. It's just there's nothing really that weak to it, is there, in this? So
no, exactly. Yeah. So there's nothing.
So it's just a hard hit move, isn't it?
Mirror?
The mirror, yeah, the mirror finish.
Yeah, the mirror, yeah. I think if you see a Shadow Hypno, I think most people would assume it's not running Shadow Ball nowadays, wouldn't they? So most people are unlikely to shield, are they? So
because when you mentioned that you were going to discuss Hypno, not only being disgusted with your choice, I did agree. I think personally, if I do end up running Hypno, it will be double punches. I just think it's got more use over the course of a month. I think, Fire Punch, Thunder Punch is going to pick you up either more chip damage to create win cons or just straight wins.
It took wins when I was messing around with it on PvP.
So what was that, sorry, Jess?
I said it does pick up some wins when you have double punch when I was messing around with it on PvP.
Oh, okay. What was...
with water being a type as well, and having Thunder Punch, obviously,
yeah,
you threaten everything there with water, don't you? So
yeah,
and then having Fire Punch for the ice types is great too.
Yes, there is a few pure ice types in this. Obviously, Snowy Castform being one. I don't know how much we're going to see of that. I
think for once it's useless.
Yeah.
For once.
Yeah, I know we're going to get absolutely slandered for saying it's useful in the first place. But I think now, as these move updates are getting implemented, it's really crying out for a coverage move now. But I do believe something like Snowy would take a lot of, Silph metas, especially by storm, if it did have that move coverage. Anything else from you, Cal?
No, we're going back to Shadow Ball. I think you need Shadow Ball for Bronzong, I think, because I'm not sure Fire Punch is enough for Bronzong, if I remember rightly. Unless you have a one confusion lead, I think, then you can get to an extra Fire Punch.
Does that depend on if Bronzong's running Payback or is that sort of even Bulldoze?
Yeah, I think people will run Bulldoze here, I think, what I'd imagine.
I wasn't thinking either of those. I was thinking Heavy Slam. Personally,
I've not looked into Bronzong enough, but I was the person running Heavy Slam Steelix this month. So I think, always happy for a Heavy Slam.
No, it's stab at the end of the day. What's the Bulldoze picking up that the Heavy Slam necessarily wouldn't?
Poisons.
What's that, sorry?
Poison types. I suppose we get that with Psyshock anyway, don't you? Unless it's a Dark Poison, I suppose.
Yeah.
I guess, like you see Jirachi, but then Payback could do the job there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how do you see that? Speaking of Jirachi, Carl, do you see any potential double confusion user teams this month with, say, Jirachi and Hypno? Or do you think that's a bit too...
That's a bit too out there for me, that. I don't think that's a thing.
No?
I think it's more double ice than double confusion, I think, isn't it? That'll be more, or maybe double poison, who knows?
See, I don't see poison being that prevalent this month. I think there's far too many counters like that. Yeah, well, especially Nido Queen.
There's some really good dark poisons, isn't there? And that's why it's there, isn't it?
Yes. I'm sure we'll get to one later on.
And everyone loves a Nido Queen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
with no fighters, I can definitely see a Celio Lapras double up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Celio is awesome.
Yeah, which obviously I'm presuming Hypno beats both quite comfortably, Celio and Lapras.
I would say it's comfortable, but it does beat him, yeah.
Yeah. You come out of energy, I presume. I've not ran any sims.
And then when I simmed before, it was showing Lapras with Ice Beam, and I think Ice Beam Lapras beats Hypno.
Oh, okay.
Because it's cheaper than Skull Bash, right?
Energy-wise, yes, massively.
Yeah.
I don't think I would run Ice Beam on Lapras in this meta, though. I think...
Nah, I'm not sure I would either.
There's too many things that resist.
Exactly, and you've got your Ice Shard damage for any, dragon types anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do we have any further points on Hypno?
Just that it's amazing.
That is amazing, and that is going to be absolutely everywhere.
Hate to love it, love to hate it.
That's the one.
Right then, so we'll move on to our next pick, and Jess, you're up next. If you'd like to introduce your pick for this evening.
I picked a dark poison type Skuntank. Pokedex number 435.
Oh, I thought you forgot then.
No, I wasn't gonna let you forget. I've always liked Skuntank. It was one of my MVPs in Sorceress Cup. I love using the skunk. I think here I would probably run Crunch Flamethrower for a little bit of fire to hit back at some of the ice types. But I've always really liked, and Poison Jab. And, ever since it's got that buff, it's so good now.
It's very OP.
It's such a great move. Like even, Nidoqueen. I played around with Nidoqueen a lot in GBL. It's amazing the wins that it picks up. So, but Skuntank is just one I like to use. I'm pretty comfortable using it too. So that, of course, was an easy one for me to pick.
Yeah. So I was going to say to you, Jess, obviously Drapion, another dark poison type.
Yeah.
What would make you pick Skuntank over Drapion? Obviously, you have Flamethrower.
Yeah.
So ice types. Obviously, Aquatail doesn't have much play here generally.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's a very quick spammy move that can get that chip damage. And do you think it's more important to kind of get that heavy hitting nuke move in terms of super effective damage?
I think so. That's how I prefer to play.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work well for me personally, but that's just how I like to play. I prefer the nuke damage, the heavy hitters, as opposed to like the chip damage, the spammy moves. So that's just my personal preference. I don't think when I was playing around with PV Poke, I don't think it really it does great against Drapion, but I don't know. Personally, I would prefer that.
Yeah, it's more the case it picks up more wins.
It has Sludge Bomb, but if it has Flamethrower, well, it still wins with Flamethrower against Drapion. So me, it's going to do the job that it needs to do, but then it's going to hit back at the other dark poison types too.
Yeah. So with your pick of Skuntank, kind of what are the key things you're looking to counter with it, would you say? Is it more that we think, things like a Bomber Snow are going to be popular? I think running it as a custom rank in a Bomber.
Yeah.
Plain vanilla is rank 1 and the Shadow's rank 3?
Yeah, the Shadow's 3, I think.
Yeah.
Earlier, yeah.
So is it
those types, and then the other confusion users, because we knew that Hypno was going to be big, and then Jirachi maybe, but I think people are probably going to choose either Hypno or Bronzong, so that helps against those, fight back against those.
Yeah,
it doesn't have bulldoze, I guess.
It's quite interesting, everyone has spoken about Hypno, Bronzong. There is one other confusion user, well, obviously Jirachi, there's one other confusion user that comes to my mind that nobody's even spoken
No, you can talk about it because no one likes it.
Glade?
Glade. You think?
Confusion user that loses to all the other confusion users.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but, personally me, if you put me in a Hypno mirror, I'm probably losing that 9 times out of 10. I cannot call a bait for Toffee. I mean, I am awful. I'm there battling away and I'm like, this is going to be Shadow Ball. I'm going to shield, bang, Elemental Punch. Okay, game 2, the reverse happens. And I'm just like, I cannot catch a break in mirrors.
Never bait.
So, well, yeah. No,
well, double punch, you can't bait.
Well, yeah. But, I think something like Glade has that nuke move. Sorry to get steer away from Skuntank, but Glade could, for example, close combat a Skuntank, one-hit KO that, which I don't think any of the other confusion users have that kind of ability to do.
I don't think so.
We all know you're going to run a Charm Glade anyway, so.
No, I'm in rehab for Charm at the moment.
Knocked out of him.
Honestly, I've been absolutely had it kicked out of me in factions the last couple of weeks. I've been Azu and Charm A9 2 weeks running, and I'm just sick of it now. It's fun when you're beating people with it, you know, even if they do call you scummy, but yeah, I'm just trying to steer away from Charm now. I don't think Charm has any, you know, right being here, to be honest. Like, obviously,
You sound like you're in remission, mate.
oh, mate, honestly, it's terrible. I know.
I think he's just trying too hard, and then when his Charm Gallade comes out in game 1.
Yeah, like, honestly, this month, going back to Brawler, I built my first 6 and I had no Charmer. And then, you know, the usual suspects that slate me for Charm, the Matthew Brewers. He rocks up with a Charmer, and I'm thinking, well, if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. I'm getting back on the bandwagon. So, yeah, I ended up running Charm this month, shock. But no, it would be a confusion Gallade if I was to go on that avenue. But it was just interesting that I was the only kind of confusion user I could think of that would actually beat Skuntank, potentially.
I think Gallade can like hit back at some of the waters too with the Leaf Blade.
Yeah. It's one of those mons that you don't want to see up against your Lapras, for example, because again you're having to cool base.
Yeah, and that's the difficulty with that one.
Yeah. Let's get back to your Skuntank pick anyway, Jess. We've gone off on a tangent there. It's my fault. But yeah, apart from, say, the confusion users, is there any, you know, really nice pickup wins? Obviously, we've mentioned Abomasnow.
Abomasnow, I think I was checking it, and it picks up some wins against Frostlass. I can't remember. I think Flamethrower really like hit back at it. Let me.
So the Frostlass match would be interesting because if Flamethrower is the win con, but you're so tempted to play French, like I'd have to sit it myself. But
that was the one I lied about. That does not win. Not Flamethrower.
Crunch has got. It's surely got a shield. The Crunch.
Yeah, you have to shield. I mean, I just think Frostlass will be used a lot, maybe as much as Hypno. So I think to me it's definitely a threat to it. So if anybody sees, you know, my Skuntank, they're not going to want to bring their Frostlass against it. So even if it does lose, I mean, we all know how, you know, energy, like one turn of energy can change matchups. So.
Yes, definitely.
So
do you see it having any play against, you know, spice picks? As people may or may not have seen yet, there was a bit of a chat and shit spice episode that's now been dropped.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet, but I think Barbarical, is that how you say that?
Barbarical, something like that. Yes.
Barbarical, something. I think that, depending on what they run it with, because I think it can have Fury Cutter or Mudshot. I mean, obviously, if it's running Mudshot, it's going to be a huge threat.
Is it Mudslap or Mudshot or Barbarical?
I don't know.
Ooh,
I think it.
I actually watched the episode earlier, and they actually brought this up, and I cannot remember for the life of me.
All 4 of us instantly switched to our PV Pokes tab. It's Mudslap.
Yeah, that's a very different move.
Yeah,
that hits hard.
Yeah,
it does.
Skuntank wouldn't really appreciate that, I don't think.
No, definitely not. I mean, if they're running Fury Cutter, it's probably not going to do as much damage. But I can't think of any other spice picks that people were talking about. Oh, maybe Carrot.
There's been some Omnia Stars knocking about. I watched PvP.
Sure. Is that Mudshot as well?
Yes, I think it is, yeah. I think it learns Rock Blast, Rock Slide, Hydro Pump. I even want to say maybe it potentially learns Brine.
Omanyte is Brine, yeah.
Omanyte's Brine, is it?
Omanyte, Brine, Bubble Beam thing as well.
Yeah, there
And
will
Rock
be.
Tomb, I think, as well.
which has obviously just received
And
a attack
buff.
debuff now. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see if we see any XL Omninites. I can imagine.
I've got one bill. I'm ready.
Oh, one show. I can imagine Jamie coming out of an XL Omnite. Looks like it's going to be Cal this month.
Yeah.
Got a shadow one ready to go.
Nice.
I was looking after you mentioned it the other day. I have one too. I don't have it ready, but I have one.
Yeah, it's what I find a lot of these metas now. There's always this XL option that's kind of could swing a meta now. And I seem to be 1 or 2 steps behind on getting these XLs ready. And I'm just like, well, I'm just going to have to go Mr. Meta and just pray. You know.
I think
If in doubt, charm them down.
Chin Chow, Chin Chu.
Chin Chow, yeah.
Yeah, I think, didn't that make the original ban list as well?
It made the original ban list, yeah. And
There must be something in that, right?
There must be.
Yep.
To make it a ban originally and then to obviously.
The Lantern's banned, isn't it?
Decided against it.
Right.
I think it only gets about 1300 CP, right?
I got no
I don't think
idea.
it tips 1400 XL Chincha, even with a buddy boost.
You think I've got the XL candies to even get anywhere near that? But what I was going to say, Jess, sorry. Alolan Grimer, how does that match up play?
Ugh.
As we know, Alolan Grimer now is kind of the Dark Poison XL mon to go for.
It is, isn't it? That one. Alolan Grimer. Oh, I picked the wrong one. Hang on. Oh yeah. That one's terrible. But doesn't it get like Mud Bomb?
That would be Kanto?
Normal Grimer, yeah,
Yeah,
Cancer
Cancer.
Grimer is.
Oh, okay.
Alolan Grimer
It's
is
like
like
bomb. So it's bomb.
Yeah.
yeah, Alolan Grimer is like Poison Jab, Crunch.
Yeah.
But it has a Poison move, Poison Charge move. Might be Sludge.
Sludge or Sludge Bomb, I think it's one of the two.
Yeah. That one looks. I mean, I didn't have to look at the IVs of it, but that one looks interesting too. Like, I think that would be a fun pick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like a Hatch IVs is like the rank 1 is like 10, 15, 15's rank 1, something like that.
No, it's something more bizarre than that. I think it's.
No, I think it's 8 attack, the rank 1, I think, if I remember rightly.
Really? I thought it was
Yeah,
Hatchable.
I'm sure it's 8 something something.
So it needs
Yeah,
to be.
that- Yeah, because it's not been in the wild that much. It was in the wild for like Go Fest, I think.
Yes.
But most of our Alolan Grimers will be Hatch IVs unless you traded, I presume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which at least you can trade into it, you know, which is always a nice bonus.
But I think like going back to the Skuntank, and I think we mentioned it with the confusion users, like Gallade being the confusion user that loses to confusion users. I think if everyone's trying, like Hypno's gonna be everywhere, so you've got to counter the Hypno. I think most teams will have a Dark Poison, so if your Dark Poison beats the other Dark Poisons, so I think that's where Skuntank does look good, because what Alolan Grimer running Poison Jab, Crunch, Sludge Bomb, that's not going to be the other Dark Poisons. So I think that Flamethrower coverage move might make it the best Dark Poison, potentially. I don't know. I think if you can beat the other Dark Poisons, if you're beating Hypno anyway, and then you beat the other Hypno counters, that makes it a good pick.
I think that's, to me, what the hole it would fill in my team.
Yeah.
Shadow or non-shadow?
That is the question, isn't it?
Ooh.
I have good ones of both, good IVs. So I think I'll have to play around with both and see which one I prefer. I'm not great with shadows. I always feel like I don't use my shields properly when I'm running a shadow. So I tend to go with vanilla a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely have a play around with it and see which one I prefer.
Yeah, because
I was very anti-shadow until Shadow Champ this month. And now I'm like, I want to use all the shadows.
Shadow Poison Jab hits hard.
Yes.
The only shadow that I can comfortably use is Nidoqueen, because I use it so much in GBL. So maybe I'll have a play around with Skuntank and I'll get comfortable using that one too.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't think poison-wise, as I said, they'll go back to it. Nidoqueen is not the premium poison user here. I think Jess's pick of Skuntank is probably going to be there or thereabouts, number one. There's going to be people out there that love Alolan Grimer, and just a bit of loyalty will stick with that maybe. But I do like Skuntank as a pick. I think it's very solid, and it's something, later on I'll look into to see what the shadow picks up or drops compared to the vanilla. I think, when you build your team, Jess, and you're deciding it's going to be, right, what am I weak to? Does the shadow pick up, say, 2 out of the 3 things you're losing to mainly with the rest of your team? And that's kind of like the way I like to team build. Is that kind of what you're going to be looking at yourself, or is it just be more what you're comfortable with as a player?
I tend to pick what I'm comfortable with and then try to see what I'm weak to and see what I can tinker with and what holes I can fill.
Do we have any final thoughts on Skuntank?
I think I'm sold. I was on the Drapion train, but if Skuntank beats Drapion, I think that would swing it for me.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a common matchup. Everyone's going to counter Hypno. So I think that's going to be I think you're going to commonly, if say swapped my Skuntank, or they'll say something there, Dark Poison. So if you're winning that matchup, that might just tip the scale for me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
So, my pick for this evening is Pokédex number 62, and that is Poliwrath. So, when I initially looked at the typings, I saw Ice, obviously Glacial Cup. Ice is going to be a main feature. Dragon. I don't think it'd be that popular. I think you may see Dragonair and Xylos as the only 2 dragons being run in this. And then poison types, a lot of them, as discussed with Jess's pick of Skuntank, are dark poison, but Nidoqueen, I think there will be some people that run it. So I found that Poliwrath running Dynamic Punch and Ice Punch actually picks up a hell of a lot of those, mons that fall into those typings. I've ran some custom sims on PvPoke. I found that depending on whether you run the Shadow or vanilla, if you like to call it, it's a very, very different mon. For example, in the 0s, 1s, and 2s, you actually, with the vanilla, lose the 0s and 1s to Abomasnow. I personally thought in the back of my mind that Poliwrath with one shot gets to Dynamic Punch before Abomasnow gets to Energy Ball. But apparently not. Apparently it's not even that close. Because I feel that Abomasnow will be everywhere this month.
Is that without baiting? Can the Abomasnow go straight Energy Ball?
Yes, so like in 0s, for example, it goes straight Energy Ball, Poliwrath goes straight Dynamic Punch, and I'm still not even sure what I read earlier this morning was correct, but what I've got wrote down in front of me is that, vanilla Poliwrath loses to Aboma in 0s and 1s. It's beaten Xylos, as you'd expect. Both moves are super effective. It's straight losing, obviously, to your Hypnos, your Bronzongs, your Jirachis, Galarian Rapidash. It loses all shield scenarios. The wins that I like, though, are the Milotic. I ran that with Dragon Breath, though, in the sim rather than Dragon Tail. So I might have kind of lied to myself on that one. Because I do suspect that, Milotic should be running Dragon Tail here. But that picks it up.
Does Milotic even learn Dragon Breath?
That's what I'm wondering.
I don't know.
Are you just giving things custom moves because Mr. Piggy goes on holiday?
Yeah, just
Charm Milotic. There you go.
Yeah, Charm Milotic.
Could you imagine? But yeah, I'm picking up 0s and 2s against Alolan Grimer. I'm losing the 1s, but it's quite flippable. I think it's 2 mud shot head start. So that's quite an easy thing to achieve, I think, with Poliwrath. I'm losing to Beedrill very hard, which kind of hurts a bit. I do like to have a good team that can counter a Beedrill because it can be destructive. For example, Skuntank, if that takes a drill run from Beedrill, it is not loving that. And very much the same with Poliwrath. However, when you compare it to the Shadow, so you beat a Abomasnow in the ones with the Shadow. The Malamar matchup, because I think Malamar will become quite popular. You still lose in all shield scenarios, but all shield scenarios become flippable with 1 or 2 fast move advantage. The Milotic, the Shadow actually drops that win, the Vanilla wins it. That is a very big flip, that one as well. So, you know, if you're thinking Milotic's going to be a big pain for your team, and you do want to run Poliwrath, you know, if you're as insane as me, then, you know, you're probably looking at running Vanilla there. Politoed, do I think that's going to be popular? Me and Holmsy were discussing earlier. If you're going to run a Poly, I think Wrath is the way to go. I don't expect to see Politoed that much.
Is Politoed ranked higher in the custom rankings?
It does.
I love Politoed.
I love Politoed. I you know what? I've gone a bit dirty and gone to Shadow Swampert nowadays. Is my kind of water mod of choice. But no, I think I've started to kind of notice the Politoed Weather Ball debuff. There's matches that I was winning before that I'm kind of not now. That may be due to IVs. I've got quite a high ranked IV Politoed, but it's just not the same mod it used to be. Whiscash. Now, I don't know about you guys, do you expect to see Whiscash appear a lot this month? Obviously, we know it's got Blizzard, but...
Saying that, it's got good against the poisons, isn't it?
Be very good at start poisons.
maybe.
It'll be very good against your like Bronzong.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Jirachi as well.
And if it's like Fire Punch, what's a Thunder Punch, Fire Punch Hypno doing to it?
I was just thinking the same thing. Nah, it probably isn't going to do much, is it?
But would you guys agree that if you were building a team, would you say Whiscash or something of that nature would probably be your 5th or 6th pick on your team? It's not, this month it doesn't seem to be the kind of go-to pick that Whiscash sometimes is.
I don't think Leaps Off the Page is a really good pick, but actually I think maybe a bit of a sleeper. There's not much grass. Is there any grass about?
I just
Bomber in it.
a bomber, and I think then as we discussed earlier, Gallade with no Leaf Blade. I'll be honest.
No one's running Glade.
You watch, there will be someone.
How many charms to a Leaf Blade?
God knows. I don't count it. I just play to the music. I'm awful. But no, I don't think Whiscash is, like as Holmesy said, like it's not the one that jumps out at you, but it could be knocking about for like a month. So the Whiscash actually beats the Shadow Poliwrath, but loses to the Vanilla. Skuntank Shadow wins, but the non-Shadow loses, which again I was slightly surprised about. That may be bait dependent, but I can't see how it'd be bait dependent thinking about it, to be honest. Gastrodon. Now, I think that's a sleeper pick.
Beautiful monk.
I think that is a sleeper pick. You know, is it Mud Shot or Mud Slap?
Mud Slap, Body Slam, Earth Power?
Yes, yeah. I wasn't sure on the fast move. How quick? Because I've not had much use of Gastrodon. How quick?
Not very. Mud Slap's crap.
Oh, so we're not.
Mud Slap is not there to get you to a move.
So we're not getting Body Slam spam as we'd want it to be spamming.
It's not like a Celio, put it that way.
Oh, okay. And then randomly, I kind of went through what I was kind of the ones I was worried about personally in this meta, and then random I scrolled right away across to its wins and losses that the Shadow and non-Shadow picks up. The Shadow picks up Latios that might be a handful of Spice Night special. And then Gengar. I don't see anyone
You even
running
consider Gengar as being legal.
Because obviously it's got that part poison type, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Going back to the part poison type, you've also got then all the grass poisons.
Venusaur,
Roserade. They're all eligible, aren't they?
Yes. God,
I haven't even considered them before.
Yeah, that's completely thrown me now.
More Hypno
just writing down Venusaur.
Yeah. No.
Farm it down with your Hypno. Away you go.
I don't think even, with grass being super effective against obviously with water types, I think even with the ice types resisting it, I don't see any grass, solid grass types as we know them coming here. I just can't see it. But yeah, I mean, Poliwrath is not my typical mon I go for. As people would know, when I do chat and shit, it's Galvantula or I do not appear, basically. Or Brewer doesn't invite me. But yeah, Galvantula. So it was strange. We were discussing this, when I obviously invited you guys on. And Poliwrath was instantly the mon that stood out to me purely because, again, a lack of counter users, but Dynamic Punch, obviously, excuse the pun, packs a punch. It really will hurt, unshielded Laprases, Celio, The Frostlass matchup is actually a lot closer than what a lot of people give it credit for. Obviously with its part Ghost type and fighting, right, in the main series, as far as I'm aware, fighting Ghost is immune to fighting type moves, but obviously we don't have that, do we, in Go? So, but the Frostlass matchups are flippable, I think, with 3 or 4 fast move advantage. So if you can get yourself in there and build up, and for whatever reason they think they can outpace you with the Frostlass, which, to be fair, isn't, unbelievably to think that. We all know what Frostlass can do with energy advantage and how quickly it can even flip a matchup when starting behind on energy. But the Poliwrath can flip those. So I think, I don't expect to see Poliwrath on everyone's team. But I do think it's going to be a sleeper pick.
Is that everyone or anyone's team?
Took the words out of my mouth.
But,
you mentioned the Shadow a lot. I always think with the Shadow debate, and I might be completely way off the mark here, because as I said earlier, I'm very new to the Shadow game. But I always think my rule of thumb with a Shadow is like fast move pressure. So like counter users, better as Shadows. Poison Jab, better as a Shadow. Confusion, better as a Shadow. Mudshot's not that. Mudshot's there to sort of gain your energy, isn't it? And you kind of don't want to lose 20% bulk because you want to get to more charge moves.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It's, Mudshot will still do damage though with that Shadow buff. It will chip away, I think.
Yeah, but you want to get to one more Dynamic Punch or one more Ice Punch. I think that's sort of like losing that 20% bulk, you might not get there. I don't know. I've not looked at any sims or anything. I just always think fast move pressure is your Shadow mon.
I do think with Poliwrath this month, it's going to have to go straight into a 6 in a practice tournament, and it's going to be what can it do? Because to be honest, I've never really used Poliwrath. I've come up against them in Ultra League, and I know that the Dynamic Punch kind of comes at you quicker than what you expect. So yeah, it could be a case of, the vanilla non-Shadow may be better to run, even though you're not, getting that, extra hard hitting. Is it, as I said, there are some flippable matchups. It's going to be a case of, is your 6 weak enough to those picks to warrant the Shadow? And I think it's got play for both, and that's what I quite like about it. But yeah, have you guys got any other thoughts on Poliwrath?
I've never ever used a Poliwrath, ever. I think I've used it maybe in like an auto rec once, but never felt comfortable enough to bring it to a tournament. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on why.
It's just not that good, I don't think. But I think
some people rave about it though.
That's what I mean. I think in the right scenario, and if you know what you're doing with it, it could be potentially destructive.
Was it Sinister? It was really good in.
I don't think I was even playing in Sinister.
I feel like it was something from season 1 that it was really good in, because I
Jungle,
remember
that's the one I hear about a lot, is Jungle Cup, but I don't even know the titles of that because I wasn't around then.
Jungle Cup. I
don't play season 1.
Holmsy, you definitely weren't around in season 1, were you?
I'm a newbie still now.
I've seen Poliwrath a lot in GBL lately. I think people have been using it to counter all the Nido Queens, the Mud Shot and Ice Punch. Really, really packs a punch against Nido Queen. So,
yeah, I was just saying, there's no. Oh, sorry, Jess, I interrupted you then.
I haven't used it much myself. I've just come up against it.
Yeah, I find that I've not used it very much myself, but I just think something that can hit back at ice types, hit back at steel types, because there are going to be steel types knocking around. Unfortunately, a few of them are confusion users, which is a pain, obviously. As I said, it's going to get absolutely destroyed by your Hypnos, your Jirachis, your Bronzongs. But I do really think it's well worth trying it out just to see how good or how bad it is. These experienced Poliwrath players are probably licking their lips a bit because they will know what their win cons are, what it can take, what it cannot take, and they will have a bit of a massive advantage with that. I think off the top of my head, I'm trying to think how many mons in this meta have close combat.
Gallade?
Gallade. We keep going back to Gallade, I know. there really isn't much fighting-wise, is there?
Gallade is the only close combat user. There's Malamar with superpower.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I don't think anybody else gets close combat.
No, superpower is anything else? I should have looked this up.
Superpower, there is Malamar or Galarian Darmanitan.
Yeah, no one's seeing that.
Oh, Spice Knight special again.
Such a squishy Pokemon.
Yeah. And then Barbarical gets cross chop.
Oh, thank you, Jess. You've meant
something like that.
Golduck, but it was cross chop.
Yeah.
I actually looked at that for a confusion user and then, took myself out of it rapidly.
But I think when the Water Grunt's got confusion Golduck, because I always bring Venusaur against the Water Rocket Grunt.
Yeah, I will.
Please tell me that's a Razor Leaf Venusaur if you're doing Rocket Grunts.
It's not, is it? It's Vine Whip.
I have
that's
zero
level
mons.
50 Roserade with Razor Leaf. Just
zero mons with Razor Leaf in my inventory.
Should always have a Roserade for the Water Grunts with Razor Leaf. Absolutely ruins them.
That's what I use for the Rocket Grunts.
Right, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for rocket tips. I'm not here for magic tips.
Level 50 Roserade and whatever is your buddy. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. So,
it's core magic cards.
Do you guys see, personally from your perspectives, do you see potential for Poliwrath? Could you see you guys popping it in your 6? I wouldn't be offended if you say no and laugh, it's fine.
I'm not going to say no and laugh, but I probably am going to say no, I can't see it in my 6. However, my general rule, when I'm building a team for any cup, is what's the counter user? Because counter's so good, fighting types are so good. Well, there isn't any here. I think actually. But oh no, that was when we were talking about Roxy the other day. That was just me, crossing wires. But it's quite easy to build a team weak to fight in here because you're not scared of them. So if you've got a mon with a fighting move, and like we said earlier, Lapracelio, that could be a nice double up in a non-fighting meta that suddenly you've just destroyed with your Poliwrath. So I see the play with it, but I don't think it fits my 6.
Yeah.
Is there no counter users here? Nothing.
I think there's 2.
And there's 2. I was saying there's 2.
Alakazam.
Oh yes.
And what was the other one?
had a chat with someone about Counter Alakazam earlier, and he's very much looking forward to running it, but it's too
I
frail.
don't think I've got one low enough. Not that I would use it.
Everyone's got an Alakazam. At a community day.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but that was pre I was playing this game properly.
It's a Matthew Brewer version too, isn't it?
I think I've got like I've got like 6 counter Alakazams, but they're all like well over 3,000.
Oh, goodness.
Right, so what we'll do now is we'll move on to Holmesy's pick. So Holmesy, if you'd like to introduce your Mon.
My Mon is glad there's no counter users in this meta. So my Mon is, I've got the Google in front of me so I don't get this wrong. It is Pokédex number 395, and it is Empoleon, the Steel Penguin. Empoleon jumps out at me straight away because what are the types? So ice, poison, water, forgotten, psychic, and one other. And Empoleon resists every single one of them. Okay, double resist poison, double resist ice, resist water, resist psychic, resist dragon. Yeah, I don't think, now as I'm a relative newbie to this, I don't think there's ever been a Mon in cups I've been in that has resisted every single type. It just makes it really safe. Now I know there are weaknesses, weak to ground, and you then got your whisk caches. So there are some ground types involved, but like the main 5 types of Empoleon resistable. So I think that's just a really, really good safe place to start looking at your team. We've mentioned earlier we haven't really got a meta list yet, so when I sort of put a custom ranking together, I just looked at the top 10. So I think Empoleon on the custom rank is ranked 14 or 15th, something like that.
Yeah.
So I just looked at the top 10, and out of the top 10, the only Mon that Empoleon doesn't have an even shield wink on against is Vilas. All the others, so Bronzong wins in all evens, Celio wins in all evens, Jirachi wins all evens, Rapidash wins Glacial all evens, Frostlass all evens, Abomasnow you win the ones, Beedrill you lose the ones but win the 0s and the 2s, Dugong you win all evens, you maybe lose the 2s, just because of the icy wins. But like that's such a good place to start. You've got the 10 meta picks and you're beating 7 of them in all even shields just because you're resisting all the fast moves. So I think Empoleon's a real safe play. Beats all the dark poisons. Obviously you got to watch out for like maybe a Skuntank with loads of energy,
or a Mudslap Grimer.
Yeah, well, dark poisons. Probably will lose to Grimer, but beats a Lowland Grimer. What else it beat? Just beats everything.
Yeah, it seems a very solid pick.
Yeah, it obviously loses to electrics. There's only 3 electrics in the whole meta, and one of them is Rotom. This is where like Jan's in top comments going, I've already built my Rotom ready for this. So I just think it's really safe. We mentioned the potential of grasses earlier, but the steel type means that's only neutral. You've got Drill Peck, so they're closer matches, but if your water type isn't losing that hard to the grasses, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah. So
I can't think of anything that's going to be meta that really destroys it. And then maybe that's how it shapes the meta. Maybe then Alolan Raichu becomes meta if everyone uses Empoleon or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's interesting that you said obviously Empoleon's, as you said, on the custom rank, it's like 14th, 15th at the moment.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Normally something that decisive, like that, shapes a meta is a lot higher than that. It's normally top 5, I would say, if not even higher.
Might they actually do the rankings? I wonder.
Yeah.
I think maybe when there's a bit of usage data out, maybe it will swing things.
Because I'm finding a lot at the moment when I looked at the custom rankings, a lot of the move sets, I've looked at the Mons and it's got the move sets and it's not running necessarily what I think I would run as the move set. I mean, I'm not the spiciest of people. I don't generally go off meta that much in terms of move sets. So if I'm thinking it's not correct, I think a good 80-90% of PvP players will probably go, actually, yeah, I wouldn't be running that reset either. So you're right in what you're saying. Maybe when the rankings do update or get uploaded, then we might see a bit of a shift and Empoleon goes right up, or maybe you've just sold it to the thousands.
Maybe, yeah. I don't think it's meta defining. I don't think it's going to be the one that everyone uses, because there's plenty of play against it. Like, even though, like we were talking about Hypno earlier, like it beats Hypno on even Thunder Punch, but then as Cal said, just that one confusion, it's so easy for Hypno to sneak confusion in.
Yeah.
That flips that. Kanto Muck, Thunder Punch. Then, the Poison Jab's doing nothing, but your Empoleon's really got a shield. It's not the bulkiest one in the world. Whiscash, anything with Mud Slap, we've mentioned quite a few Mud Slap, Mud Shot users like Poliwrath. There's plenty of things that beat it. I don't think you'd have to go, right, I need a designated Empoleon counter. I think you'll naturally have one in your 6.
Okay.
So I don't think it's going to be meta-defining. I just think it resists all 5 main types. So I think it's just a really good starting place for D6.
Cal, what's your thoughts on Empoleon?
The steel typing is huge, isn't it? It's absolutely huge. Like you say, all the resistances it picks up. I actually think Empoleon's probably going to be one of the best Pokemon in the meta. It's just quality.
Mm-hmm.
Jess,
Your XL Chinchu's ready.
Get it on there ready, yeah.
I don't have the dust or the XL. Don't promote that kind of meta with XLs everywhere, please.
Once again, Yan in the comments. I've got my Rotom and my XL Chinchu ready.
That guy's got everything ready to be built. But Jess, you sit generally, you don't mind me saying, quite a bit of dust generally a bit of a grinder. You have lots of XLs for lots of viable mons.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself in this meta going something like Holmesy's pick, like an Empoleon, or do you think you're going to go down, say, maybe an XL route to try and counter Empoleon and other mons?
I don't think for this one. I love Empoleon, and the fact that it resists all the typings, I think that is definitely sold it for me. So I think I would try to use that instead of countering it. I definitely don't have the XLs for Chinchou, and I only have a 98. So
yeah,
I have the unevolved Hundo. I would probably make it, but I can see myself doing it.
Yeah, the thing is, I've been finding a lot recently, going back onto this XL kind of topic, is I find that I'm building XLs with high rank PvP IVs. And I'm finding actually, if I'm getting myself into an XL mirror match, or even XL versus non-XL, I'm losing a lot of the time CMP ties because I'm building these high ranks.
Yeah.
I played a very well-known player back in the last season in a meta, Statistan, and it was a Hypno mirror. And he told me after, he said, I purposely took a high attack weighted Hypno, knowing that Hypno was going to be popular and I would win every CMP. And
that's where these high ranked players, that's where they really shine, because they research the breakpoints and they have multiple Hypnos or multiple Mons with, the breakpoint for this matchup, and that's where they shine. That stuff stems from me, I should say.
Another good thing in relation to that, having lots of options. I'm sure with Holmesy's pick of Empoleon, a lot of people will have their high-ranked PvP IV Empoleons, but they may also have a few spare with higher weighted attack stats, and may look at if Empoleon does become very popular, which there's no reason why it shouldn't. People may start going down that route of, do I need to win CMP? Maybe not in the Empoleon matchup in a potential mirror, for example, but there will be things that Empoleon might not naturally win CMP against. But as far as I'm aware, as long as it's got a high attack stat, that's all fine. It's not on the initial stat values. Or am I wrong there? Go on, tell me I've been playing PvP wrong all this time.
I think one, like we mentioned this in the chat before coming on, I think one of the the really interesting ones, if you're thinking down that route, it's the Frostlass Mirror, isn't it? And like that's because Shadow Ball one-shots are always one-shots. Like you winning CMP there's huge. I think Toxicroak's another almost banned here. Is a good, like, if you're in a Toxicroak meta and you're going to be on a Toxic Mirror all the time, then having a high attack Toxicroak is always handy. So there's a few. I think it's one of them where if that Mon in the mirror, you're going to hit a super effective move that you want to win CMP desperately, because otherwise you're going to leave it with still 95% health, that sort of thing. Makes it bigger. I was just actually having a quick look at other Thunder using Mons here, and Rainy Cast Form.
I don't see
Rainy
it.
Cast Form.
I love it.
Yeah, been perhaps my MVP of Brawler alongside Golbat. It's been fantastic. Actually, there isn't much electric here. There's what we said is I think there's 3 eligible electric types in Alola Raichu, XL Chinchu, and Rotom Wash. So if you want an electric move to counter the water types, your Lapras, your Celios, and now your Empoleons, because I've just made Empoleon meta. Then, I don't want to come on here and say how good Empoleon is and then tell you what to play against me. But Rainy Cast Form could be an interesting one. Obviously, the Water Gun's doing nothing, but then the Thunder's probably will win.
The only problem I see with Rainy Cast Form in this meta, I don't know if you guys agree, is it takes an awfully long time to get up to those Thunders, I find. And I can see things like Lapras, getting to Skull Bash before you get to Thunder. Cal, you probably know that kind of thing more than I do.
Rainy Cast Form gets the Thunder one Ice Shard before you get to Skull Bash, I think.
Oh, okay. So there maybe yeah.
I think I'm sure it's one Ice Shard, only because I just got ruined by it.
This is why.
So.
Yeah, Rainy Cast Form Lapras is quite nice. You don't need to bait. Maybe by the 2s, it's like the 3rd Skull Bash one cheaper, potentially. So I think maybe in the 2s you might need to bait. But by that point you've taken 2 shields off of Lapras anyway, so I think it's a really risky bait. I think there's a lot of really good eligible water types, and I know there's only 5 types, so you probably are leaning towards water quite heavily anyway. So there's some really, really good water types. I really like Empoleon. I think Empoleon's fantastic. I think actually double water could be a good strat with a lack of grass, and if your only grass types are grass poisons, and it's a Hypno meta, well, they've been put off. So I think it depends how the meta develops. Double water could be a good strategy. Maybe you're Empoleon as sort of like a defensive water type to resist everything, and then maybe Rainy, maybe Whiscash. So a double water strat could be interesting.
What's the Empoleon Frostlass match like? If someone switches a Frostlass in and gets a head start.
So from a standing start, Empoleon wins all evens. It wins the ones with 8 turns, so the Frost is going to need, 3? Yeah, needs 3 Powder Snows.
But those Powder Snows, they come quickly, don't they?
Oh yeah, you got to draw,
It's you blink and you're at those 3, kind of.
Yeah, I think I guess 1 on the Switch, 1 on your first Hydro Cannon. There's potential for those 3 to come about quite easily. But you're quite safe in that matchup. And also, they've got a Shadow Ball.
Yeah.
So also, do you let the first go because Shadow Ball doesn't kill, thinking they might bait? I don't know. I'd have to do is I'd have to play that much out in sort of practices and find out the way I would prefer to play it. But I think that's relatively safe.
So, has anyone got any final comments on Empoleon, apart from he's probably just sold it to everyone and we're going to see Empoleon all month alongside?
It doesn't resist anything. It's weak to all 5 types. Please don't use it.
I think it's too late for that now. I think it's too late. But yeah, guys, any final thoughts on the picks tonight or the meta in general? What you think may happen?
No counter makes it different, which is definitely a good thing.
Okay.
I'd like to see some fun picks. something like Malamar, because you want your fighting type, something like that. I'm hoping to see a lot of variety. But I say that at the start of every month.
Yes, and then PvPoke normally comes up and dashes our dreams. It would be nice if, you know, you could sneak a tournament in before the rankings come up and see what people's natural thoughts are rather than PvPoke assisted thoughts, should we say. You know, it's a great tool, we all use it, but it would be nice sometimes not to see the same 6 to 10 mons all month. You know, you get to the third week of the month and you're just literally clawing your eyes out. You don't want to see another X mon or Y mon again, especially if it's, you know, a rough month for you. But yeah, I'm hoping we get some spice. I would love to see some spice this month. I think there's a couple of good rock types. I know we haven't really touched on rock types this evening, but I know in the other episode it's been discussed, which people will obviously be able to catch on Matthew's YouTube channel. But guys, thank you for joining me this evening.
Thanks for having us.
No problem at all. I appreciate you coming on for my first host of Chatting Shit, and hopefully Brewer will be happy with the results.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll just start spamming it on repeat just so I get his views up. There you go, Matthew. My video's the most watched ever. But no, I do really appreciate you guys coming on. I know it's not easy. We all lead busy lives, and but yeah, has you got any messages for Brewer now he's fled the scene? Come on, Jess.
Just say something nice, really.
Really?
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. Cheers, Matt.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah. Cheers.
Come on, Jess. Hit him with a low blow.
No, not today.
Not today. But no.
Yeah.
On a personal level, just want to say thank you to Matthew for obviously giving the opportunity to host. And yeah, hopefully look forward to appearing more in the future, and hopefully see you guys again on future episodes of Chatting Shit. All right, guys, take care.
Cheers, mate.
See you, mate.